Hey everyone, this is a diagram of the life cycle of an angiosperm, but for our purposes, we kind of want to just think about it as the life cycle of plants. Okay, we'll talk more specifically about angiosperms and gymnosperms throughout this unit, but we're going to begin our tour of the plant with a seed. And figure this is a good time for this just because it's springtime, things are starting to blossom, so we're really able to start to see kind of how this life cycle and how fertilization occurs between plants. So we start, for our purposes, with a seed. And so the seed has come from a previous plant, obviously, and it's going to start with growing its roots, and then once it has a firm base with its roots spread throughout the ground, the stem will start to grow, and then we'll get to the full-blown tree. And again, for our purposes, we're going to be thinking of angiosperms. Angiosperms are flowering plants. So anything with plants on them, flowers on them, is going to be an angiosperm. Most plants you see are angiosperms. And flowers make up the reproductive parts of a plant. Each plant has male and female reproductive parts on them. So what happens is we have the egg cells, the female reproductive parts, are held or carried in these storage areas for production called ovules. And the male reproductive parts are found in pollen. So this kind of brown stem thing called the anther produces pollen or grain that gets spread and distributed throughout the environment using wind, bees, anything like that, in hopes of landing on another plant of the same species in order to have fertilization occur. So we can kind of see the pollen's moving in a direction, maybe the wind's blowing that way, from the male reproductive parts of a flowering plant to a female part. And once it connects with the female reproductive part, it's going to go down this pollen tube here. So the pollen has landed on another plant, goes down, and once the pollen cells, or the pollen which contains the sperm cells, come in contact with the egg cells in the ovules, then we have fertilization occur. And when fertilization occurs, right, we have two haploid cells and they become diploid, right? We have an embryo form. So that embryo, it's growing, it's differentiating, its cells are becoming different functions or structures to perform different functions. And as the embryo continues to grow and develop, a seed forms, right? And a seed is going to be protected by fruit. Okay, so the fruit is not only used to help protect the seeds, but it's also a mode of transportation because seeds want to distribute or travel far away from their parent plants, right? Because they want to cross-pollinate. It's more advantageous to cross-pollinate than it is to self-pollinate in order to have a greater genetic diversity within the population. So a fruit helps them do that. Unsuspecting animals are going to eat the fruit and unintentionally traveling the seeds from one area to another, allowing that population to migrate and move around more than expected, considering plants don't move. So that's just a quick overview of the plant life cycle in terms of angiosperms. This will be helpful for when we look at our tree adopting project. And if you have any questions, let me know. And be sure to spring into action. See you guys later.